Hello YouTube and welcome to Nini Nane's Dark Magician deck of February 2016. Now my Dark Magician deck is a little different than you will normally see, as I also want them to be cheap in case you guys would like to make this deck, and I don't want you guys spending lots of money everywhere. So without further ado, let me show you my deck of Order's monsters, which we have 18 of, our spell cards, which is 16, and our traps, which is 9. And then I'll show you my extra deck afterwards. So our monsters, we use 2 Dark Magicians instead of 3, like most decks, because I feel like 3 would be a little too much of a dead draw to me, and I prefer them staying in the graveyard, in my deck, or drawing them for very special occasions every now and then. And what would be a Dark Magician deck without Dark Magician Girl? As if we often get a Dark Magician in the graveyard and we summon her, she will sometimes get a boost of 2300, but lucky sometimes she will get her full 26 attack. Very good. Now we use 2 skilled Dark Magicians, as they both have 1900 attack, and since we use about 16 spell cards, we have our choices to build 3 of our spell counters to summon a Dark Magician from anywhere from our hand, deck, or graveyard. I'll put these up here because I'll come back to them in just a second. Now we use Copycat. Now I know Copycat may not seem like a good card, but actually is a very good card in a pinch when your opponent summons a high level monster. The highest his attack has ever become is 4000 just from its effective zone. Now we use Blizzard Princess. Now Blizzard Princess, she's a very good card for this deck. She is a level 8 monster, but even though she can be tribute summoned by tributing only one spellcaster type monster, and her effect does not stop there. After she is normal summoned, your opponent cannot use any traps or mirror forces for the rest of the game, or for the rest of the turn. And so that means you don't have to worry about bottomless trap holes to special summon any more monsters, or a mirror force or dimensional prison when you attack that turn. She's a safety net for the first turn she's normal summoned. And we use 3 Elemental Hero Prismas. I know we use 2 Dark Magicians, but I feel like 3 is a good card, as they are light monsters with 1700 attack, and we also have a Dark Magician Girl in their deck. Now, we have Magical Undertaker, a level 2 400 attack. I know it may not seem well, but it's a dark monster, and I have flip effect. I can special summon any level 4 spellcaster type monster from my graveyard. So he's very good if I have an XYZ monster on the field and I detach one of my spellcasters to use this effect. Then I can flip summon him. To use this effect to special summon the monster back. We also use Old Vindictive Magician, another flip effect of 450 attack, and it's more of a surprise for my opponent as they won't see it coming. I can flip and target one monster they control. And I use 1 Summoner Monk. A very good card, as we have lots of spell cards in our deck and we can combo special summon monsters very easily with him. Like special summon him, and you just use this effect to special summon Elemental Hero Prisma or any other monster that we want to use as level 4. We also have 1 Breaker the Magical Warrior, as his attack is normally 1600, but he gains an additional 300 when he is normal summoned, and because of the spell counter he has, and I can detach 1 spell counter to destroy a spell or trap card my opponent controls. And then we use 1 Marshmallow for defense. And then we use 1 Mathematician of sending any level 4 monster from my deck to the graveyard. And when it's destroyed by battle, I can draw an additional card, which is very good. And then we have Breaker the Magical Warrior. Defender the Magical Warrior. When he is summoned, he gets a spell counter, and only once per turn, whenever a spellcaster type monster would be destroyed, I can move a spell counter anywhere on the field for each of those spellcaster type monsters. So as I said before, Breaker the Magical Warrior and both our Skilled Dark Magicians get spell counters by their effect. Now I'm debating if I want to use Magical Exemplar because she gets 2 spell counters every time I use a spell card, but I don't really use her effect that much, so it's more of a hit or miss for me, so I decided to take her out of the deck. And our last monster is Black Luster Soldier, as our deck is full of mixed of lights and dark monsters. Now to get back to our spell cards, we have Bound Wand, which is actually a pretty good card for me. Whenever I equip him to a spellcaster type monster, his level and his attack increases by the level of 100. So Defender the Magical Knight is the level 4 monster of 1600 attack. I equip him, he will gain an additional 400 by his level and become 2000 attack. But his effect does not stop there, as if the defender gets destroyed by either a spell or a card effect or by battle, and it goes to the graveyard with Bound Wand also, I can summon the Defender Knight back, and it works on any spellcaster type monster. Now we use 2 MSTs to get rid of our opponent's back rows. Very good. And we use 1 Magical Dimension to... It's actually a pretty good card. If I control a spellcaster type monster, I can tribute any monster I control. It doesn't have to be a spellcaster, it could be a dragon, a rock, or a fiend type monster. And I can special summon a spellcaster type monster from my hand, normally a powerful one, and then I can destroy one monster my opponent controls. I use Dark Hole. I use only 1 instead of 2 because we have 2. I don't like destroying my own cards very much. Mind Control, very good for XYZs and taking control of their powerful monsters if they're in the way for direct attacks. 1 Dark Magic Curtain. I know it's at the cost of half your life points, but this card can save you if you're in danger of a powerful monster of 2000 attack or something. You can normally summon him and then equip it with your Bound Wand, and it gain an additional 700 attack in that turn. Now we have the Fang of Cratitas, but I will get back to him toward the end of my traps. Now the Claws of Hermos. His effect is that I can I can send 1 monster from my hand or my side of the field to the graveyard that lists a fusion monster on that can only be special summoned with the Claw of Hermos. So since this deck has a lot of warriors and spellcaster type monsters, it's actually the best card for this deck. And I'll put them over here when I get back to my extra deck. We have 1 gold rare Majiki, very good. 2 Swords of Revealing Lights, as they can be used when your Skilled Dark Magician's on the field. Now we use 1 Spellbook of Wisdom to save our spellcaster type monsters, just 1, whenever we would like, from a Magical Cylinder or a Dark Hole or Bottomless Trap Hole or anything like that. Now we use 1 Pot of Duality because this deck is all about special summoning, and he stops you from special summoning for the 1 turn. But I do like the effect of adding 1 card for the top, of revealing top 3 cards and adding 1 of them to your hand. Then we use 1 Soul Charge, very good. And for our trap cards, we use Compulsory Evacuation Device to return a card from the field to the hand, or a monster. And now we use Dark Renewal. It's similar to a Bottomless Trap Hole, but not exactly. Whenever I control a spellcaster type monster and my opponent normals or special summons a monster, I can send both of them to the graveyard. So it does not destroy, so you don't have to worry about a Stardust effect negating it or anything like that. Just sends it to the graveyard, then I can special summon a powerful dark monster or any dark spellcaster type monster from my deck. Now we do use one Bottomless Chapel Veil, very good. Dimensional Prison to banish any monsters that attack, and we use one Magician Circle, as if a spellcaster type monster attacks, declares an attack, you can activate this trap card, and both players can special summon a spellcaster type monster with 2000 or less attack. Now I know that it lets your opponent summons 2, but most of the time they won't have a spellcaster type monster, but that you summon it by himself. So very good. We use Crush Card Virus, as like I said earlier, we do have 3 low dark monsters. We have Magical Undertaker, Summoner Monk, and put him in here a second. Shit. Oops, sorry about that, guys. I found the missing card. Now, as I was saying earlier when I was declaring the monsters, I was telling you 400 and 450 attack and 800 attack. Why are their attacks so low? Well, because they're all darks with 1000 less attack, so I can use the Crush Card Virus. But truthfully, I hardly ever use this card with these 3 monsters. They're only just in case for these 3. I normally use the Crush Card Virus or the 3 Mirror Forces that I've won in this deck with the Fang of Cratitas. Now the Fang of Cratitas is that I can send a trap card of a Crush Card Virus or a Mirror Force card to the graveyard from my hand or side of the field to special summon a Mirror Force Dragon or a Doom Virus Dragon, which I'm only missing 4 cards in this deck, 1 extra deck, 3 in the extras, so I'll post pictures at the end of the video and tell off their effects to show you how they work. Now we do one Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. So yes, we do use the Eye of Timaeus, which is one of the missing cards, unfortunately, but you guys do know it's a $40 card that I'm looking for. And I pulled her out of a pack, thank God, so I didn't have to buy her. Now, earlier I was saying the Claw of Hermos can use a spellcaster or a warrior type monster from my hand or field, and to summon a feature monster that can only be special summoned with his effect to summon a spellcaster or warrior type monster. Now, I can send a spellcaster type monster to the graveyard to summon Time Magic Hammer. His attack is 500, but his effect is actually really good. When he's summoned, I can equip it to a monster that I control. So equip it to Dark Magician Girl. And when she attacks, I can choose to use the effect of Time Magic Hammer, which is to roll a die, and depending on the number of somewhere between 1 and 6, I can banish the monster that I just attacked for the number of standby phases. So if I wanted 4, it would be banned for 4 standby phases. So that counts as yours 1 turn, mine 2, 3, and then 4. And because it's an even number, I can choose to attack it again and banish it again for more turns. Now, he is not the only monster that can be summoned. We also use Goddess Bow, which again can be equipped to a monster, which I absolutely prefer this one. Is that Goddess Bow negates the first trap or spell card. Actually, negate the first effect that activates during the battle phase. So if I attack an opponent uses a Mirror Force, it negates it, or a Dimensional Prison, or a Scapegoat, it defeats it, but only the first card. And it's not just any spell card, it can negate a monster effect too. And we also use Rock Hermos Cannon. Now him, I don't summon much because he only pierces, and he lets me attack twice, and so does Goddess Bow, which I forgot to mention. That when he uses the effect to negate a monster, to negate an effect, I can attack twice, and so does Rock Cannon. But unfortunately, Time Magic Hammer does not. Now we do use number 1-on-1 XYZ to target special summon monsters, which is actually pretty good. We use 1 Steel Swarm Roach, 1 Dark Rebellion XYZ. Now this card, I'm a bit iffy about. It's more for burn decks that I've in a contending fight, as its effect is that I cannot take any damage equal to or less than his attack, as its attack is 2500. So it will also save me from any battle damage I take if I'm in need of a pinch of life points. And we do use number 17 Leviathan. And the 4 cards I will be posting are Doom Virus Dragon, Mirror Force Dragon, Eye of Timaeus, and Eminent Dragon, which I'll post right now. And so that's it, people. That's it. Our deck is 43, counting out the items missing, and our extra deck is 12, counting the 3 feature monsters missing. So that leaves 3 extra deck cards you can choose to fit your playstyle. Now, like I said, I would be saying the effects of the 3 feature monsters I'm missing. So first, Eminent Dragon. He's a monster with 2900 attack points, and when he is fusion summoned, I have to banish one spell card from my graveyard or my opponent's graveyard, or both graveyards. And for each spell card that gets banished by his effect, he gets an additional 100 attack points. And when he is destroyed, either sent to the graveyard or banished, I can special summon any spellcaster type monster from my deck, from my graveyard. And because we have to use Dark Magician to summon Timaeus, we normally summon Dark Magician. And our other card is Doom Virus Dragon. He can only be summoned with the Crush card Virus and the Fang of Katitas, like I told you earlier. And his effect is that when he is summoned, I can destroy all monsters my opponent controls with 1500 more or attack, and reveal their hand and any face down monster cards and destroy them. And I could do also to look at the next 3 draws that they drew, next three draw turns, and destroy any monster with 1500 more attack. Now, Mirror Force Dragon, on the other hand, his effect is actually very similar to Mirror Force, but it's more of a face-up Mirror Force. His effect is that if my opponent attacks, his effect activates that I can destroy all cards my opponent controls. So not just monsters, it destroys monsters, pendulum, spells, and trap cards that they control. But it's a face-up card, so they actually know it will be coming. But his effect is actually better than that, as if a monster card I control gets targeted by an effect, his effect also activates to destroy everything my opponent controls. So all monsters again, all pendulum monsters in the pendulum zones, and all spell card and trap cards they control are gone, leaving my field full of monsters or traps and his field empty. Now, our other card is the Eye of Timaeus, which we all know can send a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from our side of the field. So it has to be on the field, unfortunately, to summon a Eminent Dragon, Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. Now, Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, her effect is actually very useful, as I can send a card from my hand to the graveyard to destroy one face-up card on the field, and I can activate her effect during any time of the game, so either my turn or my opponent's turn. So, I'm sorry we have 4 missing cards, but wish me luck finding them, and I wish you guys the best of dueling. I hope you enjoyed my deck, as I actually have fun making this deck. And yes, we do use all 3 legendary dragons, but once again, this deck is based off my playstyle, and I actually have fun making it and playing with it and winning a lot of duels. Thank you, like, and subscribe. and share it to your friends.